and then I started dating this other guy, and I'm 40, I'm about to be 43, and until I became a therapist, I had a really strong dream to have a family and have children, and it's not something I feel I want to do anymore. I don't, I put out a tremendous amount of energy to many people, and it's not my wish to, I've kind of finally had the ideal life I wanted my whole life, and I just want to live it. I don't want to be giving out to more people 24 hours a day. At least that's not what I'm feeling now. So, but at that time I was really like, I'm almost 40, I'm running out of time, I want to have my children, and I had in my mind that I was going to have a Jewish family. And so I started dating this really sweet guy, and I just kept convincing myself that we were this great couple. I was just really fooling myself, and I used to talk to this healer and psychic, Mary Margaret Rose, maybe you know her. And I called her about my work, and I said, I need to know, when work's going to really take off for me. And she's like, oh, your work's fine, but anyway, you're in the wrong relationship. And I said, I didn't call about the relationship. I'm in the perfect relationship, and I'm really happy in it. She's like, well, that's funny, because all your guys just told me that you've totally given up on yourself. You don't believe you can be in your perfect relationship. You're settling for a relationship that's not fulfilling you at all. And she said, but don't worry, this guy's going to unexpectedly leave, and then you're going to meet the man of your dreams this year. And he is going to be everything you prayed for. I'm like, okay, great, whatever. She's gone off the deep end. But that's what happened. We broke up, that guy and I, and looking back, it's like, oh, also my cat would always check in. I called the cat communicator about my cat before I learned to hear the animals. And my cat would start talking about my relationships. And so Gina would tell me these things about my relationships, but then she's like, oh, by the way, Jessie wants you to know Ray's the one you've been waiting for. Yeah, so it was like everyone was voting for this. And
the universe.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, and we stayed friends, and one time we got together to go for a walk, and I thought he was dating someone, and he thought I was dating someone, and as we chatted, it turned out neither of us were dating anyone, and we fell in love, because it was like clean, and we've just been together ever since that day. And about a week after, we went for a hike, and we saw two birds, and I don't know what kind they were, and they mate, like they go like that when they mate. They drop down from the ground. I know hawks do it, but it was a different kind. They mate in the air, and it was just a really beautiful thing to see. But Ray's a Cancer, and he's very peaceful, and he's not into drama, and I'm a Leo. So when I go into my drama mode, he laughs, and it's very reassuring for me. He doesn't take it seriously, and so it never escalates, because I can come up some real wacko stuff, and then 5 minutes later be like, what was I thinking? I mean, really bizarre stuff that I think's going on. And like, I'll just be really honest, even just about 2 weeks ago, I don't know what happened, but I got, right before my period, I got really bizarre, and I thought all these things were happening, and I actually was watching myself in the living room, and I said, like, you are trying to humiliate me. And I remember watching myself and just thinking, this is like baloney, and I couldn't quite tell what I was doing, but I could feel I was really scared, and all of a sudden I was feeling vulnerable, and I was trying to push Ray away, and then I was telling him that he had humiliated me, and then this other part of me is like, this is so unreal, like Ray has never humiliated you, he's the most gentleman of gentlemen. So I just kind of cut it out, and my cat told me to cut it out. And I realized I was just entering another level of vulnerability with him, and so I was reacting to myself and coming up with some weird crap, So I just apologized and realized that I just wanted to be happy, and that it's not fun for me to do anything but be happy. So I just wanted to share something personal and honest with you all, because I don't want to stand here like I'm the therapist who has it all together. I'm just one of you, and I'm involved in the learning of what intimacy and love is, just like all of you. So, thank you for being here. Now what I'd like to ask you to do is to go outside and find an animal or some nature that you're attracted to, that you just today feel attracted to, and sit with that tree or that flower or that deer or butterfly or hawk or whoever comes to you, the quail, the hummingbird, Jessie the cat, and check in with yourself and see where would you like to go next in your relationship. And next might be just to be celebrating what is here, or next might be something new. And before you go into all your concepts that you've already created and articulated to yourself, check in with your heart and just see what your heart says as you sit with that nature or animal you're attracted to, and let that nature or animal help inform you.
Within the heart, the whole and part of everything I see. Behind the eyes, beyond the skies, reflecting me.
Share what you experienced when you were outside with your animal or your tree or flower or whatever you were with.
I was with this wonderful oak tree out here, and there's a sadness about it because I believe there's another tree right about here before they built the house.
Oh.
It's interesting, the different trees affect different chakras.
Uh-huh. And so, did you think about what you would like to create next in your couple relationship?
Oh gosh, I got so tied up in the tree. But let's see, what does it say to me? That you, as I told the tree, you've got to just enjoy what's here. It's wonderful. This is the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what I'm on, is to be ready for whatever comes, because it's going to come. And you might as well enjoy it. Because regardless of whether it's beautiful or hard, there's always something that enables you to grow from it. And that's, it takes a long time to learn that one, I think.
So, Ed, could you just be fully present with the sadness that the body has? Because sometimes we can be living in the present and feel that the present is good for us and even be happy, but the body has not completely released what it's gone through from the past. So, could you just be present with that sad feeling in the solar plexus that you and that tree share together right now? Just simply closing your eyes and putting your hand on that spot on your body. And if everyone can just lend your attention to Ed from your heart, and you don't have to try to make it better or worse, all you have to do is be present and notice it. And just stay present with it for a little bit. And if it dissipates of its own choice, that's fine, but don't try to change it. And tell us what's happening right now, what you're experiencing.
Let me go back and reflect on my life.
Yeah.
And I'll be 85 this year. So there's a lot of water running to the dam. And there's some regrets. And there's some, I feel that it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all okay.
That's just the life experience.
Yeah.
And the life experience is rich and meaningful. And we learn from the failures, we learn from the losses, and I think it just enables us to become more human.
Is there a regret that you would like to release at this time? That you would like to give back to the earth and ask the earth to transform it for you?
Yeah, I guess there are probably several of them. The one I would like to surrender completely is the last few years with my first wife. She died of lymphocytic leukemia. And we've been very close for many years. And then something shifted. And I wish I could have made that a good thing. I'd like to give that up.
Okay, would you go outside and find a place where you can literally put your hands on the earth and ask the earth to take that from you and transform it? And if there's a message you need to send to your first wife that you still haven't communicated in some way, send that now. And then let it, make peace with it and let it go. Okay, so what if everyone could go with Ed and just be with him?
Before the body, before the story, before the name, beyond the mind's attempt to find or explain, before the breath, beyond the sense of pleasure or of pain, and after death, I am.
Could you explain a little bit more intricately how you got there, so other people who hear about this can use what you went through and do it with themselves, possibly? Can you share more how you did that? How did you get from the way you were to the way you are?
Well, I think a lot of different things happened, and through personal work and actually work with you, and a lot of patience with my best friend, working with me through that, and being okay with myself, and being okay with who I am, and knowing that the past and all the patterns of my childhood are just what I created in my head. That it's not really real. You know, my mom left me when I was 9, and and so I always had this intense feeling of abandonment, and it's taken a long time for me to work through that.
Yeah.
And the moving towards, and perhaps even the desperation sometimes, that came through me in my energy really didn't serve my relationship. It didn't serve my life. And working through that and really understanding that I'm okay, and it's okay, and there is no hurry, and Lori committed in this particular time, I'm not going anywhere. You know, I just need to take my space, and you're safe, and it's okay, and don't worry. And then what I manifested of her going away, and all this worry that I had, happened. I created it, and she left, and didn't talk to me for 3 weeks, and said, this relationship is over, it's done, we're finished. And my worst fear, the thing that I didn't want the most, I created. So it's amazing how, if you really put enough energy somewhere, that it's going to happen. You law of attraction.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
So I attracted that, and I created that, and I finally got that.
Yeah.
And I realized that, okay, now what? Well, and I realized that, okay, if you really want this relationship, then space and the letting go of, as opposed to the moving towards and clinging on to. You tried the clinging on to, didn't work. It's gone, it's over, it's done, now what? So it really occurred for me, and during that time I got in touch with myself and did some very deep healing and hurting, and I said, okay, I get it. And I tried it, I said, okay, let's try it the other way. And I think it's much better this way. It's much better this way, and that's huge for me, because I had a lot of, we've done some clearings around that, Lori, and Lori's actually done some work with me, and I feel a sense of, I feel light.
Good.
And I'm sure Lori will probably attest to that. I mean, I just had this feeling
Great.
of being light, and then it's okay, and it's taken a huge weight off my shoulders. So really, working on yourself and knowing that it's okay,
Yeah.
and and living into go to the worst place if you have that fear. If I had that fear in relationship, go to it, be with it. Go to the worst case scenario. I did. I went to the worst case scenario and said, okay, now what? How does it feel?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a slow learner, so I actually had to physically manifest it into my, into my life. But
It's funny that you say you're a slow learner. I think you're very fast.
Yeah.
not always. It takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
So the space and the time and that it's okay to have space is a life lesson for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, a life lesson.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
that's really what our relationships do, don't they? They make it absolutely necessary that we get our life lessons, or that we learn our life lessons and get happy, or we refuse to and we get miserable. We blame the relationship. The relationships really do that for us. And I really appreciate what you said about how you were working on it, because you said you were working on making it okay. You were working on allowing your deepest, highest, most peaceful self to guide you. And a mistake that's often made in psychotherapy, and it came up last night, I was working with someone on the phone from San Francisco, and I said, stop and go somewhere in your house where you have a mirror and look in your own eyes and tell yourself you're going to be there. And she's like, well, okay, I'm going to do that, but I have to tell you what happened when I was 4, because my father did something and I've worked on this many times. And I said, I know. Are you going to work on it again? Are you going to work on what your father did when you were 4? Because if you're going to be working on that, you're working on your excuse for your distress. Yes, the first time her father did that, she was in distress and he was in distress. He had something to learn and she had something to learn. They incarnated together. They had something to learn. But she was working on that years later. She was re-stimulating herself every time she told that story. And that's what psychotherapists unfortunately do. They invite people to re-stimulate their problems. And you're not your problems. Your problems are what you create in the 3rd dimension, and you did it really fast. Some people take lifetimes. Look at what you did. That's great. Congratulations to both of you. So that you can learn. That's what we're here for. It gets really obvious. You can't miss it. It's like you touch it, you taste it, you feel it. But then our intention, if your intention is peace, if your intention is to know you're there for yourself, the problems become very secondary. And when you create the energy of your intention really strong, they can just peel off like flower petals that wilt. But when you keep analyzing them and working with them, you become a master at having problems, feeling problems, living in problems. You become a problem. So what I want to invite everybody to do now is I want to invite you to look at yourself very carefully and see where's your next limit. We have all kinds of limits about how good life can be. Would you be willing to live in unconditional bliss every moment? Would you be willing to have spiritual awakening happen every 5 minutes? Would you be willing to be at peace whether you're feeling happy, sad, angry, scared, or jealous? Whatever the emotional body's doing, would you be able to be in a deeper place like Rick's talking about of peace? Or like Lori's been sharing about. You've obviously decided to be in a place of joy. And that doesn't mean we don't feel everything else. It means we keep our intention going back to what's more important. And when we do that, what happens is more and more layers come up of our ego, who we think we are. And every time a new layer comes up, what happens is then you think, yay, I made it, wow, I'm here. And that's when, as soon as that happens, it's like a really bad accident is on the way. And that's when you're getting invited. Are you going to be attached to who you think you are now? Or are you going to take it a little deeper and set your intention with something that's beyond all our personalities, which is just being, which is just peace, which is just joy, which is just what is. It's all that is. And the opportunity starts coming faster, and I'm seeing more and more that what people would take years and years to do 20 years ago, and what they take months and months to do 5 years ago, people are doing like in a moment, or in a day, or in a week. It's unbelievable. And your intention is so strong now, the universe just magnifies back to you. So I want you to ask yourself, there's all these scientists now that say that we're going to be able to live till like we're 250. It's not just the mystics saying it, scientists are saying it. I don't know, is it true? I'm just creating an attention that I'm allowing for that to happen. And if I die tomorrow, that's also okay. For me, that's a great way to live. I'm enjoying my life that way. So I'm inviting you to look at what's a limit you're imposing on yourself. Because whatever limit you're imposing on yourself is affecting what you get to share with your partner. And it might be something really little and simple, you know? It might be a little tiny concrete limit. Like every day at 4 o'clock I have low blood sugar and I get irritated. It might be something like that. Or it might be a bigger limit, like I'm not enlightened now, but when I'm enlightened, well, ask to be enlightened now. What are you waiting for? Okay? So I want you to think of where's a limit that you're willing to give up today. That you're willing to give up today. And what I'm going to ask everyone to do is just walk up, if it's okay with you, walk up and down. We're going to walk up and down the driveway, breathing, and just let that information come to you of where your limit is.
Before the breath, beyond the sense of pleasure or of pain, and after death, I am.
People come to my seminars, go home, find they have gone through a huge transformation, reflect back and wonder what happened. Sometimes they cried, sometimes they laughed, sometimes they just had a fun time. But people often call me and say, I didn't even know I went through a profound shift. How did you do that? I'm going to explain to you what it is that I'm doing with these couples. And first of all, it's not me who's doing it. I'm doing a little pushing, a little prodding. I'm using creativity, but they are choosing to make the changes in themselves. I am looking at these couples and seeing where are they tuning themselves to inside, what unconditional state. Someone who is tuning her or himself to a state of unconditional joy or bliss is going to create blissful, joyful experiences all around him or her, especially with his or her primary mate. Someone who is creating unconditional misery, who is turning to that state within, is going to begin to see misery all around herself or himself, especially in a primary relationship. So all day long, I'm finding ways to help the couples become responsible as individuals and turn back to states that are preferable: unconditional love, peace, joy, bliss, prosperity, gratitude, care. When other states are in the way, I'm helping them to embrace those states. So if a state of misery, upset, anger, jealousy, fear is prevalent, I help them to fully embody that state until it dissolves. And the other thing I am doing is looking for patterns. We all have patterns we do with our body, with our thoughts, with our speaking. We don't notice our own patterns. So I find ways to jolt people out of old patterns into new patterns. I will use their bodies, I will use their breath, I will use their thoughts. I will do whatever it takes to help them change their patterns, because you all are masters and you can create a life of unconditional bliss with your partner when you involve your breath, your body, your speaking in that way, and when you look to the deepest resource within to find that unconditional, limitless bliss.
It's the sharing of the couples and getting to know each one.
Seeing the depth of each person and the similarities in how relationships work.
Most of us didn't know each other, but there was just a very quick an affinity, I think.
Yeah, you have a wonderful gift for breaking the barriers down, allowing people to be who they are.
Oh, Ray, yeah, the movie.
Ray Charles.
About Ray Charles.
And he was sitting in the restaurant with that lady.
Oh, yeah.
And he said something about, can you hear the heartbeat of the hummingbird? Or the, remember?
The way you do a workshop is just very freeing.
Thank you.
You could hear the hummingbird that flew right up to the window right when he said that.
At the workshops, people do open up to each other so immediately. Yeah.
Well, you provide that safe space, and I think then you choose people too who are willing. And you very quickly bring people at ease, I think.
Thank you.
I have an idea.
I thought we were going to Mexico.
Where do you think?
To the beach.
To the ocean.
It feels like Spirit has given me the artist and the musician and the editor for a book I've been doing for children.
I'm just enjoying the experience, actually. I was just listening to what Rick was saying.
Because I was brought up with a more, a really good human being. My mother, she had a near-death experience, so she knew about the bigger picture.
I think it's really peaceful to be blindfolded, actually. Kind of shuts my brain off.
That's pretty good.
Let's take your blindfolds off.
We can take them off. Pretty much everyone guessed right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you leave your blindfold on.
We're gonna be sleeping in this parking lot.
Totally no.
I own all your houses. What? I now own all your houses.
You know what's really wild?
Well, letting go of holding on so tight and being open to new experiences and doing it differently, like definitely. The new neural pathways, that's what I was saying before, so yeah, it's great.
I feel like I let go of fear.
Yeah, it was great to share. I got scared up there, the height, even though I do that for my work, climbing up, it's still like, woo, not me, and it was good to do it with her. And it just reminded me that we're always letting go of our limitations.
I think it was really good for me to break through this limitation that I had around physically coming here to the boardwalk and going on a ride that I had made a vow to myself not to go on any ride that I couldn't easily get off of if there was an earthquake.
Just enjoy it. And up at the top, I thought, well, this first time it goes down, I'm going to, stomach's coming out. And it didn't. And I thought, oh, this is pretty slick. So it sort of confirmed the idea that you don't have to have it all.